Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and the Pokemon TCG metagame is pretty interesting, and we see like changes in it over time, and different cards become more played and less played, and better and worse. And right now, I think it's cool, and I enjoy playing really all the decks in the metagame. But in playing them, I've noticed that there are some cards that are kind of not good, that people are playing, and some of them are really focal points in decks. Some are not focal points in decks, but I'm just going to go over five today that I think are cards that you should consider not playing. Obviously, play what you enjoy and play what you think just what you want to do. But if you want to play good cards, then some of these are good cards that I think are just a little overrated and not amazing cards, and some of these cards are cards that people consider to be decent that I think are just bad. Anyways, the first card here is Ensoric EX. I don't know exactly how overrated this one is, but on Play Limitless, it's the eighth most played deck. I see it from time to time, certainly, and I don't think I've ever seen it do particularly well. I played it some, and it also isn't super good. I've covered on the channel a bit, and it's just not super strong. And really, the end stuff in general, I think ends. Darmanitan is okay, and the rest of the end stuff is bad. I mean, there's not that many end pieces, right? But Enzark EX, I mean, it does draw you cards that's decent. It could be used as a draw engine, I guess, but I mean, it's not super strong there, right? And then your Attack and Night Joker for 2 darkness isn't super payable. It's semi-payable. With NSPP up and also Power Glass and Janine's secret technique, it's payable, but it's not again something that is the easiest attack to use in the game. Certainly one of the harder ones in my opinion, and it's not super strong. Ends Darmanitan's attack. I don't remember the name of the ability or the attack because it's been translated a bunch of times and I forget which is the real one. But anyways, I'll call it Darmanican. I know that's not the right name, but that's the funny name. So it does 1990, which is okay. It's really good in some situations, but it's useless in others. And then the other attacks are just pretty mediocre. So overall, it's decent. It's like probably top 20. I'd say it's probably around maybe deck 15 or so. Depends how you define the decks. I'm definitely gonna do another top 10 list at some point where now that I play these decks some more. But Enzark EX in the ends package, honestly, almost all the trainers Pokemon just aren't super good. And I think this is definitely, it's not the worst, but it's definitely the one that is the most overrated. The next one we have here is Survival Brace. Survival Brace is apparently something people are playing in Dragapult. And long story short, Survival Brace is not good, right? Survival Brace is kind of interesting. It's a tool that says if the Pokemon this card is attached to is full HP and would be knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out and it is not knocked out and instead its remaining HP becomes 10, then you lose the Survival Brace. It's an ace spec. It's not. I mean, theoretically, it can save your turn, and that's really good, right? That like makes a lot of sense. So in some ways, it seems nice. It's only from one shots, and it's being played in Dragapult, and Dragapult isn't always getting one shotted. It's probably one of the cards that's getting one shotted. Is it the least? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of one shot in the game, and notably, there is Liz Clefairy EX to allow you to one shot it, so it definitely does happen. So I see the value there, but it's your ace spec as well. And there's a really good ace spec for Dragapult, which is Sparkling Crystal. So that is definitely better in this deck, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But also Survival Brace, in my opinion. So I think the best deck in the game is the Archaludon deck with the Poison. It's not the most played. It's played a decent amount. I think most people would say it's like top 3 or 4. I imagine most people would say that. Like it's the ninth most played. There are two different builds of Archaludon though. So once you combine stuff, it gets bumped up a little. Or there's a bunch of different builds actually. But the poison one is the main one and also the best one. And so that will go through this. I guess you're not getting one shot at there, but that will go through that. And poison's played in some other stuff, and there's spread played in some things, so that'll like go through. And there's just a bunch of different ways, just like Monkey Dory, which has played some that'll go through. So long story short, this is not like always protecting you from one shots, and you're not always being one shotted, and you're taking up the tool slot, which now, I mean, it's not actually taking it up because you're taking up the ace spec slot too, which is Sparkling Crystal. Sparkling Crystal is really good, and like it's really only good in one deck. I mean, it's not just good, no, it's also good in Terra Box, but in my opinion, it's the best in Dragapult. You could definitely argue which it's better in, but Sparkling Crystal is amazing because Dragapult EX is a stage 2, and it's 2 energies. And they're different types, so it's awkward. It's payable. I mean, it's played a lot, and some people aren't playing with Sparkling Crystal. And if you wanted to put in, like, say, Prime Catcher is sometimes played in Dragapult, not that commonly, but it's something I see from time to time, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Prime Catcher's an amazing card, so if you really want this like really strong effect, you are sacrificing Sparkling Crystal, but you get a strong effect. So if you personally choose to do that, that I could see that. But then with the Sparkling Crystal, this is amazing because it allows you to actually attack. This is the most important thing. Once you're attacking and getting going, that's what your deck's strongest point is. It's kind of tanky, and that's like nice to like reinforce that. But the most important thing is to set up. You realistic like Sparkling Crystal is just so important to Dragapult. I just don't think you could play. I mean, okay, technically Neo Up Energy is like kind of similar to Sparkling Crystal and Dragapult, so I think Sparkling Crystal is definitely better because it's Arvin searchable. Survival Burst obviously also is Arvin searchable and it's a tool, but Sparkling Crystal is just insane. It's one like Rare Candy, Sparkling Crystal turn two is one of the strongest things you can do with the deck. That makes you super consistent, and now you're just like getting rid of that. So that seems kind of bad. I'll also comment on, I guess, yeah, let's talk about the next card here, which is Monkey Dory. Monkey Dory is good. But it's not a card that shouldn't be played ever. Notably, it's really good in Gardevoir. It has insane synergy. The reason Gardevoir is good is it's Gardevoir, right? But then the second reason it's probably Monkey Dory. Drifloon's good. Liz Clefairy EX is good. There's a bunch of good Pokemon in the deck. Gardevoir is the main piece, but then Monkey Dory is insane, allowing you to do extra damage. And the energy attachments to Monkey Dory are pretty easy to get. However, Monkey Dory does require a Darkness. I think Monkey Dory should not be played in Dragapult. I have seen this, and I think this is terrible. Because you're not going to have much HP left after the survival brace, and like yeah, extra damage is nice. It's like okay, I see some value, but it's so hard to get the energy on. You play one Crispin in this list, and you also are dropping the Sparkling Crystal, so it's way hard to get the energy on. And so where are you going to get the energy on the Monkey Dory from, right? The other deck that I think Monkey Dory is pretty decent in is personally, I think it's going Feraligatr. Feraligatr, in my opinion, is still a decent deck. I think it's okay. I don't think it's super strong, but I think it's in like the tier two of decks, which is okay. I'd say it's all right, right? And so I think it's fine there. And look at the rest of these decks. I guess it's fine in walls as well. It's like it's good there. It's not a make or break card there, but it certainly makes it better. I mean, you have time to get the energy on. It's good for Alligator because it adds extra damage and it has like really good synergy. But it is hard to get the energy on, so it's not like some amazing broken card in Feraligatr either. Some people say like, oh, that's the main card in Feraligatr. No, it's not. The main card is, I don't know. It's definitely not Monkey Dory though. I've talked about this before, but it's like pretty much everything except for Monkey Dory, to be honest. But then it's played in other. Oh, and I guess with Frostlass, it's like also good. But Frostlass is like not the strongest, right? So Monkey Dory, realistically, in terms of top decks, it probably is mainly just good in Gardevoir. It is played in some other things. I mentioned Dragapult. This isn't super common though, but it is played in the Trap Ghost deck. So I'm going to talk about this some. I don't think it's very good here. And while I'm at it, I'll talk about my fourth card, which is Bouffalon here. Bouffalon, I think, is a little overrated because it takes up bench space. And this is kind of the tanky aspect of Trap Ghost EX. It's kind of fun as a tanky deck. I actually kind of like Bouffalon as a card. I think it's fun. But I'll get into more of that in just a moment after I finish talking about Monkey Dory. But Monkey Dory here, again, you kind of, like, it's not very easy to get the energies on. Even with a bunch of Crispins, you need two on your Trap Ghost. And you're not always, like, surviving hits. Like, you can, It's not impossible. With Bouffalon plus Bravery Charm, you have the chance to survive hits, but you're not always going to be surviving hits. And again, you're not going to get all these extra energies on these Monkey Dories. You have a chance to get one powered up and get a little extra damage, but you're not really looking for 30 extra damage either. That doesn't really help you in this deck specifically because you're getting like 250, right? Or no, sorry, 240. If you're like short, then maybe, like if you don't have enough bench Pokemon, but it's definitely way easier to get the bench Pokemon down than getting the Monkey Dory with the energy on, right? So that's not really like a big issue. And then you are going to need, you just need the energy, right? That's a big thing. And if you're attacking with something like Corstomas Ogre Pontiacs, that's more energy. Lily's Clefairy, yeah, it's probably not as big of an issue because you're buying turns, but it is still 3 energies. And then Lily's Clefairy EX is less tanky, so then you're going to be needing 2 energy for just the one turn. You're not like really ever tanking a hit with that. So again, the idea is you're not getting the energy on the Monkey Dory, and it never does anything, which is my experience with that. You can get it, and it can get value, but it's pretty niche in my opinion. Not that it's terrible. It's not that many deck slots it's taking up, but I'd rather see Honestly, I'd probably drop the darkness for like grass, lightning, water for Crown Opal for that opportunity. It's not amazing though. I don't think Crown Opal is like super good, but that is something I could see. And then it's also sometimes played in Goldengo, or no, it's pretty commonly played in Goldengo. Um, Here, you're not getting the energy on, and you're probably getting one-shotted. In my experience, that's mostly what's happening. There are occasionally times to get the energy on Monkey Dory, but again, it's not really like you're a one-shot in deck anyway, so you don't need the damage, and you don't need the healing, and you probably can't even do it anyways, so it's not very good here. It can be good, again, in these situations, but they're pretty niche. In the hop stack's a bit interesting. It plays, this is a different deck. These should probably be split into two decks, but there's the one with like the hop stack with Monkey Dory, and it plays like Calamitous Snowy Mountain. It's a really fun deck. I'm not gonna lie. I see this a bit, and it's cool. It's not super strong. It doesn't do very much damage though. And again, you're like probably getting one-shotted, so like, you might not. Maybe I don't know. Monkey Dory is pretty underwhelming in this deck. It's not like really commitment at all, to be honest, because you're not committed, or it's a bit of a commitment because you're playing the Monkey Dories, but you're not switching up your energy count because there's not like you could play metals, but you're realistically never powering up Brave Slash. So it's not a big issue to play Monkey Dory, and it's okay in this deck, I guess, but it's not super strong. And some people talk about Monkey Dory like it's one of the best cards in the game, and it's not. It's okay. It's a solid Pokemon. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the best, like it's like a top Pokemon in the game either. It's fine. It's an okay Pokemon. It's good in Guard 4, decent in some other things, but it's certainly not a Pokemon that you should really be aiming these like random decks around. And then on the Buffalon thing for specifically Trapghost, obviously it's not like played in anything else. Trapghost has some issues. It can have bench space issues. I've noticed with Buffalon down. I haven't noticed it with any without Buffalon, but I have seen it here. You do need two Buffalons. So how do you get these on your bench? You have Search, but you want your search for your knockdown lines and your trap ghosts. You want probably two of those in play. You want two Terras, and you also want Pheasant EX, and you need different cards. Again, if you are playing Monkey Dory, then you also need to search that out. So you have like all these Pokemon you need to find, and so you can use Fan Rotom to get the Buffalon, but then you're not getting Noctowl pieces, and that's bad. Like Noctowl is so important. It is really the deck, right? The deck is Noctowl, and Trapghost is nice. Trapghost is the attacker, but Noctowl is the really powerful engine that can allow you to do almost anything you want. Within reason, you're not like playing multiple supporters and getting tons of energy on the board, but you can get Pokemon in play. But you don't just want to be using them to get more Buffalons in play. Buffalon also only you take 60 less, which is okay. It makes you more tanky. Trapghost CX itself isn't particularly tanky. I think with a Bravery Charm, it's like moderately tanky. But then with the Buffalons, it is more tanky, and I understand that. And I think it's fun, but it's not tanky the amount where it's like surviving all these extra hits. And then yeah, this like just tanky build of Trap Ghost is okay, but would I rather have Buffalon or a different attacking option that's like really good? Um, it would definitely be a different attacking option. You can also kind of compare Terrabox to Trapghost. They have a lot of similarities. They have the Noctowl engine as the heart. With Fan Rotom, you do see Trapghost EX in both. You see Area Zero Underdepths. You see energies being like tossed around through the use of Crispin, and then you also see, and you see more within Terrabox. They're certainly not the exact same, but there are similarities. And you're kind of replacing the healing aspect of Trapghost, which can come into play, but often doesn't, in my opinion. And then with like all these powerful attackers, I don't think Terror Box is broken. I personally think these decks are on a similar tier. Not as like top deck, like not top decks, probably around deck 5. And they're decent, but Buffon isn't really something that's elevating the deck that much. It's a bit of a pain to deal with at times, but it's not really going to be winning you games that often. Buffalon's definitely the one that I'm, most hesitant to put on this list, but I still think it's a little bit overrated. And it's a card that you definitely want to, like, I could see cutting from Terapagos. You could put in like Pidgeot or something, right? Like Pidgeot's really good. They're different deck slot spaces, and yeah, obviously very different cards, but still that's something that I might do with like Dusknoir. Just like switch. I think that build of Trapghost is still really good. Then the last card we have here is going to be really controversial, probably, and that's Badoo. Badoo is a card that item locks. I also think this Pokemon's kind of annoying. No, I think it's pretty annoying, and I think everyone does. I'm not just saying don't play it though because it's annoying. I'm saying that, and I'm not saying don't play it. It's okay. but I don't think it's super strong. I think the use cases are a little niche. I mean, it's not terrible, but it is really weak in terms of damage. It does essentially none. And then its HP is terrible. I mean, it's 30. It's the worst in the game. So it's a Pokemon that's gonna get knocked out by weird things. Even if you are item locking your opponent's probably gonna be taking the first prize on you. Now, if you're playing with two prizes behind that, then yeah, okay, giving up the prize doesn't matter really. And then also, like there are definitely times when giving up the prize isn't that big of a deal or even good for you, which I do understand. And Badoo is a decently strong Pokemon. I'm not sitting here saying Badoo is bad. I'm saying it's just decent. It's good. I think it's better than Monkey Dory. I think it's like a good Pokemon in the game, but not like top few, whatever. Badoo though is really it's highly played. It's kind of like centralizing to the metagame, and so, like it kind of feels like it is, but still stage two decks are good. Like the things it counters are also the things that kind of play it. Like stage two slower decks that also get hurt by it. It's kind of weird. It isn't something that has necessarily had this big change on the metagame either that people were kind of predicting. It's a card though that kind of slows your point down, but a lot of people have ways around as well. You can see Team Evolution, you can see supporters that search Pokemon as well. Those are being played more, partially because of Badoo, and that is showing the impact of Badoo. But still, it's a card that slows your point down, but you're not doing damage, so you're also slowing yourself down, and you're kind of giving your opponent, sometimes giving your opponent the initiative. The turn that you're attacking with Badoo, now your opponent can decide what they want to do within the limited options because they can't play items, but they might be able to take knockouts and they can still do some things most likely. And in those situations, then Badoo's just slowing the game down, and Badoo is the card slowing the game down, but it's not necessarily slowing it down drastically in your favor. It's just mostly making it slower and longer. And it's okay. You know, Badoo's a decent Pokemon, can be really disruptive at times, but isn't a card that's necessarily like, it is certainly not a card that like destroys a deck or can win you a match on its own. It's not a card also that is going to be like, in my opinion, it shouldn't be like a regular part of your game plan. It can be decent, but you know, it's just not always good. But I'm sitting hearing your thoughts. I've talked a lot about Badoo, and I've heard a lot of people's thoughts on it. And I'd certainly love to hear more on this, but also on the different Pokemon I talked about in this video. Any cards you think are overrated? Obviously, if I think they're overrated, that means most people think they're really good, and that means I think they're worse than probably you think they are. So you might just say that you think they're better, which makes sense. But also tell me what cards you think are overrated. But I hope you enjoyed. Consider liking, subscribing, join the channel as a member as well. All those help out my channel a lot and help me out. But I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.